calling you a radical. So all morning I'm Googling some of this subject matter. I'm like, this is a giant fucking story. You know, somebody's got to be all over it. Same old Samo. Really, tens of thousands of so-called vloggers and citizen journalists. All we hear is Radio Goo or the analysis of the analysis. Spin doctor fools. It's impossible. Well, it's impossible that nobody's in a historic way documenting the dead tide pools, documenting the Sama collapse, documenting the dead. Oh, wait a minute! Tsar T. Tsar T's reporting all this at the fringes. So I'm going to prove to you how Tsar T, RT, protects the nuclear industry at all costs, just like their twins. The United States media, Pravada, state-run fucking media. If you don't think the United States and Tsar T and Tsar Putin, oh, they illuminate? No, they radiate. So it's the club on Balco. Now, I'm going to prove to you. I've been interviewed by RT so many times, it's unbelievable. Now remember, I'm the guy who started the Million Mass March, me and the Boston Boys. I invented it. Everybody knows it. It's an unarguable fact, which Black Lives Matter stemmed out of that. Unarguable fact. You know, so RT used to follow us around. I mean, you look at that trailer video, that's RT right behind me. You know, they've interviewed me so many times, it's unbelievable. Yet, when it comes time to put the fucking video, because I talk anti-nuclearism, fucking Fukushima, they won't touch Fukushima with a 10-foot fucking pole. So they report the birds collapsing in New Mexico. Now, this is important. They report that 68% of all animals in the world have been killed in the last 50 years. They report all the dead animals washing up on the Russian peninsula. They report all this at the nuance, at the fringe. Then they stop. So, RT's, I've done some really great interviews, and they're really Russian. Now, stay with me. This is important historical stuff. So, 68% of all animals have been murdered by human beings. There should be a hunting moratorium in the fucking world right now. All of it. I mean, it's... Give these animals a chance to try to make a comeback before they're all dead and extinct. So, Fukushima. That's how the Million Mass March was started. It was started on Fukushima. So was Occupy. All of it. The basis, fundamental foundation is anti-nuclearism. All these movements were started because it's the tip of the bear. It's the greatest abuse to human rights in fucking the history of mankind. So Tsar T, you know, just like fucking Trump and crew, they get their fucking nuclear energy merit badge. They put some of my stuff up, chopped and cropped. They're always on me to fucking Skype, but I've done it. I mean, I've done so many interviews, I'm like, they're really Russian. So, New Mexico, the birds are all dropping dead, and Tsar T full well knows that Trump has restarted nuclear weapons testing, these SMRs, which the exact same SMR that blew up in Russia, RT, on 8/8/2019. How come they're not? Well, they reported it at the fringes. It's our group in Sweden that picked up the fucking tracer element in the dish that we know comes from a fucking nuclear exchange. Not a weapon, a fucking nuclear energy reactor, which nuclear energy reactors and nuclear bombs are one and the same. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? So this is important. You cannot make this up. Now, I've hammered at this, and nobody's paying attention to me because they're running on because they can't have this fucking subject matter because they're panty-painter fucking sissies. So, the Million Mass March is on the 5th of November. Remember. 7 million fucking people. Who can do that? You know, we had Justin from CNN, King, he promoted us. We had, you know, what's his name? That walked from Florida. You know, we had so much momentum on our side. We had Tsar T. We had no mainstream media, just like the climate march right in New York City, the biggest parade in U.S. history. You know, Amy was there, but there's another one, Amy Goodman. I know Amy personally. My daughter dated Aaron Matei for years. I know her very well. She broke ranks and did some work on the nuclear Fukushima, then they run and hide. So the second year, was it the second or the third year of Oh, it was the third year because the second year, oh my God. 2014, how intense was that? Anybody that was there, holy fuck. Whoa. Giant movement worldwide. Even in Geneva. RT interviewed me again that day. Twice. Before, during, 3 times. Before, during, and after. The only thing that's up there, I'm talking police brutality. You know, that's up there. The voice through all the RT. RT has these really great videos in 2013, 2012, where they put this whole... The voice through all the RT videos, that's my voice. That's me. You're like, who's the guy freaking yelling? Who's the guy that they use my voice and all that stuff? Kevin Blanche. They'll know this, and they're Russian. So I'm in Brooklyn. I'm in New York. As you know, I spend a lot of fucking used to, you know, the real anonymous, Aaron Swartz. RT did report Aaron Swartz, but they won't finish the job. MIT Media Lab. Laura Edwards Snow job. Where's Snowden sitting? So, as you know, I get a tip. I'm contacted by some real anonymous. Kevin, you know where you hang out in Brooklyn? Yeah, at the fucking Irish bar who serves English food cooked by Mexicans. And I told them just like that. And they said, yeah, we know where you hang. Well, you know. Can we meet you there? Yeah. Guy tells me, he says, I'll be the guy in the red baseball cap, which I get approached a lot in those days. You know, like in D.C., people, you know, just normal people, and you don't know who they are. Kevin Blanche, you know. A lot of times it's Secret Service or it's, you know, it's called, you know, Capitol Police, blah, 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 blah. And for the most part, you know, they will identify themselves after I ask. And, you know, I make them show their credentials. And they're usually pretty nice. And my line to them is, you do know I'm just trying to save you from you. I don't want you to get cancer and die, even though you want me to get cancer and die. So, go to the bar, sitting there having a pint of plain. Shows up by himself. Kevin, there's going to be trouble in D.C. What do you mean? At the march? Yeah, I says, there's always trouble. Fuck, the anarchists show up. It's fucking nuts. You know, but I can hang. I'll be all right. No. I think your life's in danger. According to who? It's just what I'm telling you. Listen to me. You know, and you know, he has a conversation who he really is, and then I'm like, I'm all ears then, because I don't take advice from fucking any of these fools. I'm like, oh, he knows. So I stayed in New York, and I heard and quickly organized, says, I'm going to stay in New York, we'll do it, you know, underneath the Christopher Columbus statue at Bryant Park. So we met there. We had a lot of fucking, what about ALC fucking people were there that day. What a crowd that showed up that day. And I passed around my megahorn, and it was so fucking intense and good. Mike Tyson, the Iron Man preacher, as I call him, the famous preacher in New York who fucked just like I remember that day he said, and he shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, Kevin Blanche? I've never met him. I'm here for one reason. I'm like, what's that? He says, I'm here to protect you. Really? Oh, he looks just like Mike Tyson. I mean, he preaches just like Mike. Whoa, I'm like, thank God you're on my team. He says, oh, I am. I got your back. So wherever you go, I'm going to follow you around. I've been asked to do this by who? By the powers there be, he told me. Okay. So we passed around Vice themselves. Vice does a lot of good work, and they showed up and interviewed me. They wrote a pretty good piece, but then they panicked. Oh, Kevin Blanche, it was pretty softball. So we tricked Vice. I whispered through the crowd. That crowd was so fucking powerhouse that night. You know, about 100 fucking 200 people. The best of the best. I mean, the people that were there, the preaching that I heard. Whoa, that's what this is about. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. I says, disperse in all different directions because there's more there's 5 times police than there is actual peace there. And by the way, New York City cops are really fantastic with me. They always are. You know, because they're working class guys, you know. I go have beers with them and, you know, same with, I mean, because they're a bunch of Irish dudes. And for the most part, it's the white shirts when they call out the Homeland Security manufacturers that are nasty to me and scare me. They're dangerous fuckers. So we disperse in multiple directions. I says, give it 30, 45 minutes. Let's go 45 minutes. Meet at Fox News. Oh, we pulled it off. Who can pull that off? Fuck, we fucking made Fox News fucking security piss their pants. When they called out literally many, many hundreds of police. You know, and you should have seen it. We shut down the whole... And then, by the way... So, I'm on the phone trying to get a hold of what's going on in D.C. because I'm nervous about it. You know, and can't find out a lot how that march has gone. I'm watching the feed from Tsar RT. I get word the next morning, the head of RT. Now, you do know most of the so-called Russian Orthodox are Germans, the Russian royal family. And if you think Putin's a commoner from St. Peter, I got a bridge I want to show you in Brooklyn. a.K.a. the same family. Oh, they're the family. Did you skip World War I or II history? They're back. The English royal family. And by the way, why do you think they're so good in London? They've been living under this umbrella of repression. I thought that we started the country. So I get word that the head of RT, the guy who started, who is the ex-minister of information, the Joseph Goebbels of Putin's time, that's who started RT. By the way, he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, not faking it like Trump, who wants to be in Putin's club. And Abby, both fighting for their lives in an ICU unit simultaneously at the same time. I predicted all that. So, I get word that he, in D.C., on the 5th of November, is dead. It's widely reported by RT, by mainstream media, the state-run media in the United States, that he got drunk. He's a Russian vodka drinker. He got drunk. I'm like, wait a minute. This guy is an oligarch from hell. You're talking, right out of Hollywood. I think he was living in L.A. at the time. He's one of the Hollywood, that's who owns Hollywood. That's who runs Hollywood. Right out of the streets of Vienna. Well, they get it there. They know this dance. I should be in Vienna right now. This is one of my favorite shirts. It's Geneva High School in Wisconsin, made in the 50s. Made in Berlin, Wisconsin. They've lost their minds in Wisconsin. The super spreader. He's out spreading COVID. Johnson. So I get word. I'm like, this makes no sense. Then it comes out. Congress calls for an investigation. Did you see mainstream media reporting that? Do you see Tsar T reporting that? They dig in. Right where I stay. I stay at DuPont Circle, That's where I stay. He was beat to death. The congressional investigation proves it. The FBI proves it. Everybody comes. I'm like, holy fuck. What's the odds? Remember the 5th of November. What the fuck? I'm like, that's a little too close to home, brother. Tsar T will report the 68% that they will report the birds dead in New Mexico. They will report all this. But as soon as you touch nuclear, because Putin is... I asked John Huntsman, the fucking ambassador to Russia, and I'll be talking to him again because I'm going to the Kamala Harris freaking debate on the University of Utah, and I have a credential. I've been working through it, and if they don't let me in, I'll just stand outside peacefully, and I don't believe in violence. I'll stand outside with my Fukushima signs, which I do over and over and over. I asked John Huntsman, what about the 8/8 nuclear disaster, the SMR that we're funding here in Utah, blew up in Russia? Do you know about it? Of course I know, Kevin. I'm the one that collected the data. Every single politician in Utah has been asked about Fukushima about me. Every single one. They zip up and don't say anything. Huntsman says, of course I know about Fukushima. I was living in China. Oh, he lost? The billionaire? The ambassador to Russia? Snowden? Who I know? I know John Huntsman very well, personally. You know? Whoa, whoa, whoa. But he won't. I says, well, I talked to him later. I says, well, you should be screaming your head off about this. Utah's funding these things. So it blows my mind. The birds dropping dead in New Mexico. They'll report it, but they won't report that they know full well that the MOX fuel at whip. And Trump is retesting fucking SMRs in New Mexico, in Idaho. Fact, fact, fact. In Nevada. Downwinders here. I talked to Ben McAdams. He sponsored the bill. There's videos of me and Ben McAdams the night he got elected. He sponsored the bill to block the funding. They don't need the fucking funding. You're living in a pre-Fukushima world, pre-Patriot Act world. These fucking nuclear... Price Anderson. Jake Garn, our senator in Utah, spent his entire career trying to overturn Price Anderson, which it got re-upped in 2005 for another 20 years. They have no liability. They can do whatever they fucking want. So there's your... And this is important that I put this up. Tsar RT... Oh boy, they protect the nuclear energy crime syndicate just like the United States state-run media. And if you don't believe me, it's state-run media, you go ask Cohen the Fixer. Cohen the Fixer finally grew a fucking set of balls and a conscience because his wife had it with him. He gets up in the middle of the night and goes and he calls his friend George Stephanopoulos from Good Morning America. America Vespucci spoke Italiano. He never spoke the Queen's English. Never set foot here, by the way. The invaders. Manifest destiny on chemo. By the way, Jill Putinstein. Oh, no, everybody used to argue with me. I'm the first guy that exposed that. She's green. Fuck you. Sitting with Tsar Putin. Her dad is KGB. Probably the guy who killed Dillinger. You think that's crazy? Just Google it. Fucking, it's a fact. She's Russian. You think it's a coincidence she's sitting with Flynn and Putin on Tsar T's 10th anniversary party? You think that's some coincidence? Fuck, please. These oligarchs have recaptured the world. The same thing, same old thing, 1914 with their guns and their tanks and their bombs and their nuclear reactors. Saudi royal family, the English royal family, the Russian royal family, they're all cousins. Just like World War I, World War II, the bleeders. Look up the DNA swab to the Romano fucking royal family. Who is it? They tested thousands of people when they found the bone pile. Anastasia? It's Prince Harry. This is not conspiracy. It's the opposite of conspiracy. Wake the fuck up. Hello, Tsar T and fucking CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN, Zucker, Trump's buddy. Fucking Operation Foxconn News run right out of the House of Windsor. I remember when they came in and we're like, what are they up to? My line was this. They spend $1 billion to buy the contract on baseball to not show baseball because the beautiful fucking thinking man sport. Wipe it out. Now they're billionaire baseball players. Yay, go team. The last of the greats. Bob Gibson is dead. Kurt Flood is dead. Al Kaline dead. What a year, 2020. The old United States of America. Now it's colonialized. It's the same old thing. It led up to World War I and World War II. So, Tsar T. They protect the nuclear energy, and the nuclear energy crime syndicate are responsible for all this fucking historic collapse of the ecology. So who did it? It's clean, green, too cheap to murder. You've fucking been had like no fucking other. And by the way, it's not my words. That's his fucking words. Kevin Metalbraun fucking Einstein fucking Blanche. Fucking, you think I was born with these scars across my face? It took years to live. Fuctonium is not a urban fucking, that I invented that word. Fuctonium is real. Just like plutonium and californium. So, I don't care how many views it gets. At least it's in the library. Stay tuned.